You're about to hear a true horror story, one that will crawl under your skin and stay there long after it ends. Turn off the lights, put on your headphones, and let's begin. I have been diving for over 15 years, and I thought I had seen everything the ocean could throw at me. Rogue currents, sharks appearing out of the blue, sudden equipment failures, but nothing prepared me for the night dive off Blackwater Trench. It was a spot I had been to once before, known for its sheer drop into a darkness so deep, even the most powerful lights fade to nothing. The local fishermen avoided it, claiming strange shapes swam too close to their boats, and that voices sometimes echoed through the hull. At night, my dive partner that night was Tom, a veteran like me, calm under pressure, fearless in open water. The plan was simple: descend to 40 meters, photograph the rare bioluminescent coral, then resurface. But the ocean has a way of changing plans. As soon as we sank beneath the surface, the water felt wrong. It wasn't the temperature, it was the silence. Even with my regulator hissing in my ears, there was an oppressive stillness, as if every sound was swallowed before it could travel. We reached the edge of the trench, our lights casting thin beams that seemed to vanish far too quickly. That's when I saw it, a figure, hanging motionless just beyond my light's reach. It was shaped like a diver, but the limbs bent in ways that weren't possible. Tapped Tom's shoulder, pointed, but the figure was gone. Tom shrugged, his face behind the mask unreadable. We kept moving, dropping deeper. The coral appeared, glowing faintly in blues and greens, beautiful but strangely dim, like they were afraid to shine too bright. Then, from the corner of my vision, movement again. I turned, and there it was closer now. The mask on its face was cracked, revealing pale skin underneath. Skin that looked bloated, waterlogged. I froze. Its hand lifted slowly. Fingers splayed, as if reaching for me. My instincts screamed to swim, but something held me there, as if the pressure of the deep had pinned me. In place, Tom's light suddenly swept across me, and the figure vanished once more. We exchanged a look, and without a word, decided to head back. But the ascent wasn't normal. The water felt thicker, heavier, as if we were moving through oil. I kept checking my gauges, but everything read fine, except my depth gauge, which flickered between numbers like it couldn't decide how deep we were. Halfway up, I heard it. A muffled voice in my cums, not Tom's. It was slow, gurgling, like words were being forced through lungs filled with water. I couldn't make out the language, but the tone was pleading. I spun in the water, searching. The beam of my light caught something just below the figure again, rising with us. This time, its mask was gone entirely, and its eyes, wide, unblinking, fixed on me. It moved faster than anything that deep should, closing the distance in seconds. I kicked hard, pulling myself upward, but the voice in my ear grew louder, desperate. I realized it wasn't calling for help. It was calling me down. Tom grabbed my arm, yanking me toward the surface. The light above shimmered faintly, still impossibly far away, and then a hand closed around my ankle. The cold shot through me instantly, colder than the trench, colder than anything I had ever felt. I looked down, and the figure was inches from me, its mouth opening wide, revealing black water pouring out. I kicked, twisted, ripped free, and suddenly we broke the surface. The night air hit my face, and I ripped out my regulator. Gasping, Tom was beside me, pale, shaking. Neither of us spoke as we climbed onto the boat. Only when the engines roared to life did I risk looking back at the water. The surface was calm, reflecting the moon, but just for a moment, I saw a pale face beneath the waves, staring up at me, smiling. I've been diving for over 20 years. I've seen coral gardens so vivid they looked unreal, schools of fish that shimmered like living rainbows, and underwater caves so silent they felt like another world. But nothing could have prepared me for what happened that day. It was late autumn, and the water off the coast was colder than usual. A storm had passed the night before, and the waves were still restless. Most divers would have cancelled the trip, but I wasn't most divers. A local fisherman had told me about a sunken wreck, one that didn't appear on any maps. He claimed it was cursed, and that those who went looking for it never came back the same. I thought it was just a fisherman's tale, the kind you hear in every coastal town. But I had to see for myself. I had to find it. I suited up, checked my gear twice, and slipped into the dark water. The cold bit through my wetsuit almost instantly. The deeper I went, the more the sunlight faded until it was swallowed entirely by the ocean's black throat. My flashlight cut a narrow beam through the gloom. Particles floated in the water like drifting snow. The silence was absolute, except for the sound of my breathing. I swam deeper, past jagged rock formations, until a shadow began to take shape ahead. It was the wreck. Its hull was split open, as if something had ripped it apart from the inside. Rust coated every surface, and long strands of seaweed swayed like hair in the current. I hovered near the opening, my heart thudding. Inside, the light barely reached. I flicked my flashlight left and right, and my stomach turned. The interior wasn't empty. Figures drifted slowly through the corridors, their pale faces slack, their eyes wide and unfocused. They moved with the current, but their limbs twitched unnaturally, like they were trying to swim but couldn't remember how. I froze. Divers don't freeze, but I couldn't move. My light caught one of them turning toward me. Its mouth opened slowly, releasing a cloud of tiny bubbles, and I swear I heard something under the water, a whisper in a language I couldn't place. The others turned too, all at once, all toward me. They began to drift closer. Instinct kicked in. I pushed back toward the opening, but the current fought me. It felt wrong, like it wasn't just water pushing me back. Something wanted me inside. My breathing grew faster, too fast. I forced myself to focus, to keep my regulator in place. I kicked hard and broke free from the wreck's mouth. I should have gone straight up. I should have ended the dive. But when I looked around, I saw something impossible. The wreck was gone. I spun in the water, searching. Nothing but blackness in every direction. My compass needle spun wildly, refusing to settle. It was as if the ocean itself had shifted around me. Then a shadow passed above. I aimed my light upward. It wasn't a boat. It was a face, massive, pale, featureless except for two black pits where eyes should be. It hovered just above the reach of my light, watching, waiting, and then it sank. The water pressure around me changed instantly, slamming into my body. My ears popped painfully. My flashlight flickered, then died. In the darkness, I felt movement all around me, cold shapes brushing against my arms, my legs, my face. Something grabbed my ankle. I kicked wildly, but it didn't let go. Another grip clamped onto my arm. I twisted, pulling, but it was like fighting ropes made of ice. The whispers returned, louder now, wrapping around my head until I couldn't think. And then I saw them again, the divers. Only this time their faces weren't slack. They were smiling. My vision tunneled. I knew I was seconds from passing out. And then, just as suddenly, it all stopped. The pressure released. The shapes drifted away. My light flickered back on, and I was floating above the wreck again. I didn't question it. I didn't look back. I kicked for the surface with everything I had. When I finally broke through, gasping, the sky was the wrong color, deep red, like sunset. Even though I'd gone down in the morning, the boatman hauled me in, staring at me like he'd seen a ghost. "You were down there for hours," he said. I checked my watch. Only 40 minutes had passed. I never told anyone the full story until now. But sometimes, when I'm in the shower or swimming in a pool, I still feel cold hands brushing against my skin, and I hear the whisper again, calling me back. If you made it this far, you're braver than most. But remember, some shadows never leave. Subscribe for more true horror stories.